Hi everyone, welcome to UChurch. We pre-recorded this message again this week and we wanted to try something new. So welcome to the UChurch website. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're already here. So welcome. We've had a communications team working really hard on this brand new website. So please, after we're done, enjoy, peruse the site, see all the content that we have. We have a few updates for you coming up this week that we're going to highlight later. But before that, we just want to take some time and worship together as a family. So Lance is going to lead us in some worship.
When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow comes to steal the joy I own, when brokenness and pain is all I know, no, I won't be shaken, no, I won't be shaken. When darkness tries to roll over my bones, when sorrow comes to steal the joy I own, when brokenness and pain is all I know, no, I won't be shaken, no, I won't be shaken, 'cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love, and my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love, and my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Shame no longer has a place to hide. I am not a captive to the lies, and I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. No, I won't be shaken, no, I won't be shaken. Shame no longer has a place to hide. I am not captive to the lies, and I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. No, I won't be shaken, no, I won't be shaken, 'cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love, and my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. There's power in your name. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. There's power in your name. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love, 'cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. carried a burden for too long on my own, and I wasn't created to bear it alone. I hear your invitation to let it all go. I see it now, I'm laying it down, and I know that I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend, so I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, 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 and again and again. Oh, 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 oh. You saw my condition, had a plan from the start. Your Son for redemption, the price for my heart. And I don't have a context for that kind of love. I don't understand, I can't comprehend, and all I know I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. Done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend, so I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, 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 and again and again. No, oh, oh, oh. My heart has been in your sights long before my first breath, running into your arms is running to life from death. And I feel this rush deep in my chest. Your mercy is calling out. Just as I am, you pull me in, and I know I need you now. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend, so I run to the Father again and again. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart found a surgeon, my soul found a friend, so I run to the Father again and again and again and again. No, oh, oh, and again and again.
Thank you, Lance. That was awesome. I've been highlighting this over our communications period during this quarantine, but again, welcome to the website. Check it out. If you haven't yet, please download the UChurch app. So go to the main page, on the home page. About halfway down, there's a link to either download on the Apple App Store or the Google App Store. Download the app, and that's the primary way that we're going to communicate with you in the moment if there's any changes or updates that we're having. Additionally, please sign up for the newsletter if you haven't. It's at the bottom of the webpage, at the bottom right. So just subscribe for the newsletter. That's our more regular updates that we're going to likely be updating you weekly moving forward. We're connecting on Sundays as a family. So after this call, we're having a Zoom call, but we actually, we want to connect in other ways. And so Rob Stobie has it in his heart to lead a Hearing God's Voice seminar. And so he's actually having information this evening over Zoom at 8 p.m. So if you need more information on that or are interested, please check the website on the main page for a post. Also, we're having virtual prayer rooms this week. So that'll be at Thursday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So just over the lunch hour. And if you need any prayer for anything, if you're feeling lonely or need prayer for healing, anything really, please come and we're going to pair you up with someone to pray for you. We also have UChurch intercession this week. And so that'll be on Wednesday evening at 7:30 during its usual time. Again, it will be over Zoom. And so what that's going to look like is just follow the link on the main page and connect there. And then I was just informed that we're going to have a virtual men's retreat. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like because men's retreats are usually a little bit more roughhousing and smelling each other's BO and having breakfast together. But it's going to be awesome. More information coming out later this week, and we'll update you next week as well. We've had a few people ask about the tithe and about giving. And so if you're interested in giving, the primary way that we facilitate that is actually on this website. And so please go to the giving link above. If you're interested in giving and tithing, go there. It'll give you more information. And lastly, as I mentioned, we're going to do Zoom rooms after the service here, after the message. And so we've really enjoyed this over the past couple of weeks where we have a chance to connect with each other, look in each other's eyes, hear from each other, and get to process what God's doing in our hearts throughout this time of quarantine, but also just get to connect and see each other face to face from a safe physical distance. And so right now, I actually want to share, or Amy's going to share with us about what she's been up to for the last little while.
Okay, so something I get the pleasure of announcing is a project that we as a communications team have been working on for the last couple months. For me, it's been something really dear to my heart ever since John's book finished. It was kind of the new project that God put both on my heart and on, I think, the heart of everyone who's working together right now to come up with our new website and to really create something that us as a community can look to and share together. So that being said, this coming week, we're launching a collection of stories that is actually coming from the heart of our community. So we started interviewing different members of UChurch a couple months ago and asking the question, what is God doing in our midst? And the coolest part of all of this is the same question was asked months ago, and the answers they gave are so prophetic and so in line with even this season right now with COVID and everything that's happening, that I think it really just speaks to how much the Father speaks to each one of us individually. And I'm really excited for all of you guys to finally get to read them, to finally get to share. The vision of this is that not that our website becomes our community, but that it becomes a platform and a space where we don't have to feel like we're in isolation or loneliness, and that by reading one another's experiences with the Father and hearing the things that He's sharing and putting on each of our hearts, collectively and individually, we will know what He is doing in our midst, whether or not we're in a season of quarantine. I'm really excited for you guys to hear We are launching 3 of our first stories this week. And I'm not going to say who we interviewed, but they're really amazing, the testimonies that came out and just kind of the reality of the love of Father. And I'm excited for everyone to get a chance to listen. So follow along. Make sure you keep your eye on the website.
Thank you, Amy. That was
/stories.
awesome. So I'm really excited to read more about those stories and see what you've been up to with that. So now I would like to introduce to you our self-declared regional disc golf champion and Brielle and Bella's grandpa, Brant Redding.
Oh my. Grandpa's here. Hey. All my grandchildren out there. 2 of you. Anyway. How y'all doing? Sounding American now. I bet you're on your couches getting settled and another week's gone by of isolation. Take a deep breath. There's a few more weeks to go. Really want to just jump into this because we don't want to be long. It's hard to sit and watch screens all day long and then to listen to someone. But I just want to get right there, right to the point. And I'm actually pretty excited about this. And because it's one of the things that, let's face it, you can go online right now. You can go, every church in the world that has access to the internet has had to go down this path to recognize that everybody's separated physically, but how do they connect? And so there's a lot of information. You could just go on and listen to so much. So this week, as a staff team, we were talking about this and prompted with the same question. What are you saying to us, God? What are you saying to us as this family? And this week, it really struck me. It really hit me. And I really feel this can be more of a prophetic encouragement, exhortation to us about this moment. So I just want to kind of let it go. This week, Isaiah 43 just was mentioned in a Zoom call I was on. And I felt the Spirit tell me to go there. And I started reading it, and it just so impacted me. And the part that so struck me is, I'm just going to call it, this is a gift. We know what's going on in the world. And there's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of things that are going on with people, even in our own midst. People who are in homes, people that have passed away, friends of friends, those of you on the front lines in the healthcare system. So there's a lot going on. And in the midst of this, God is doing something. And for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, what is he doing? And in a lot of ways, I just call it a gift. I've talked to a couple of people this week that just fully agree. Lots of us would want this to end sooner than we think. And yet God says it'll end when it ends. And we have a chance. There's something being said here. So in history, every generation God comes to and speaks to them and gives them opportunities to go deep with him. And our Christian history, if you will, through the church is written by people who he says he looks to and fro through the land through a heart that he can show himself strong through. And we understand that Romans 8, that's all creation is groaning, waiting for the revealing of sons. We're being made into the image of Christ's sons and daughters. And the whole world's waiting for this. And so there's a part to this that's really important for us. So I'm just going to go there. I'm just going to take us right into Isaiah 43 and read this. And I just pray your hearts would be open to receive. This is not going to be a lot of information about things. I'm just going to share straight in and let the Spirit just take us there. So Isaiah 43 was written. This is God speaking to Isaiah, and he is going to speak it out over the people. This is about 700 years past Moses' taking the children of God from Egypt into the wilderness. They had this journey to go look into the promised land. They didn't realize, we don't realize, but Moses had actually been in the promised land before when he was a prince of Egypt. He did some warring attributes over there. So he knew in a sense that God was taking him that direction, but they had to camp out in the wilderness for a while, which is called the desert or the wilderness. I just want to say that because when you listen to these words, that are spoken 700 years later to another generation, you're going to find that these words are echoing right now into our hearts. This is the word of God. So here's what he says. Now think of this. This is God speaking. This is our Father speaking to you, speaking to me. Since you are cherished and precious in my eyes, and because I love you dearly and want to honor you, I willingly give up nations in exchange for you, a man to save your life. It's a really important line. How precious we are. That man, of course, was his own son. A love relationship between a father and a son on the cross. Easter's coming, and there's a lot that's going to be revealed in this Easter. But he's willing to point out to us in this that he's willing to give up nations. He's willing to give up the things that this world considers valuable, for the most important thing is us to know who we are in him, to live in that. It continues with this. I am with you now, and I'm even close to you. So never yield to fear. Lead out those who have eyes but are blind, those who have ears but are deaf. Yahweh, Father, says, you are my witnesses, my chosen servants. I chose you in order that you would know me intimately. Believe me always and fully understand that I am the only God. There was no God before me, and there will be no other God after me. Stop dwelling on the past. Don't even remember these former things. I am doing something brand new, something unheard of. Even now it sprouts and grows and matures. Don't you perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and open up flowing streams in the desert. I am doing something brand new, something unheard of. Even now it sprouts and it grows and it matures. Don't you perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and open up flowing streams in the desert. Rivers of living water are flowing. This is a moment. This is an opportunity. There's a gift that we have. Every generation gets a chance, and within that generation to spend time with him. In Moses' time, 430 years of slavery, they ended up spending 40 years in the wilderness, but with him in their presence, learning and growing and going after all the slavery and all the stuff that had been dwelt in their hearts that gave them full permission, if you will, to be in fear back in Egypt. But now he's showing them how good he is and drawing them forward into this place. And we're getting to go do that. I just want to bring out, what is he doing? What's going on? What is this what's going to be, what's sprouting and what's growing and what is maturing? And these things are all allusions to soil and to seeds and truth. So Matthew 13, the Father speaks through his Son and saying, there's this parable, a story, it's like seeds, and they fall on different types of soil. Hard soil, thin soil, soil that is pressured by worries and cares and pleasures. And then some soil that takes it all in, and there's a fruit, there's a harvest that comes out. Sometimes 30, sometimes 60, sometimes 100. We get an opportunity to spend time with him and let him work those seeds into our heart. When the disciples asked him, why do you tell those stories? Well, because they can't see yet. The eyes can't see and the ears can't hear. And if they could, they would be healed. We're hearing, we're seeing, we get a chance to go into this in a really unique way. So let's talk about soil for a minute. Farmers and planters, like I know that I want to go out this spring and plant seeds in the ground, and I want to bring a harvest to bear. But I've known that unless the soil itself is full of rich, humus and the material that needs to be in the ground, which is fertilizer. And let's face it, anything that's dead, anything that dies turns into rich things in the soil. So in our hearts, the things that are going to die, things that we put our hopes in and fears that drive our fears, these are going to die. and it's going to create places in our hearts. But we have to do something. We have to be willing to let him go there. And that's why this is a gift. There's so much going on in our world, and we get this chance to be alone with him and to be with him and be with one another in unique ways. Hosea 10:12 says this: sow righteousness, reap love, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord until he comes and rains righteousness on you. Righteousness is a right alignment, a right relationship with God. We have been given, we're in Christ. We've been made righteous in him. This comes to us the more we open up our hearts to the fallow ground. Unhealthy soil gets hard. And even though you can put seeds in it, it takes a lot of water for it to grow, but it doesn't grow very much. If we take this time and let him go into our hearts, it's going to dig up that fallow ground. So what's in a fallow ground? Fallow ground, if you do the definition of it, it has lots of definitions, but it's a cultivated soil that life can come through and the seeds can grow out of. And this is exciting because I don't know about you, but for me, these last 2 weeks have been incredibly enriching. The word is coming alive to me in ways I've never seen it before. These verses that I might have read kind of in a daily reading or something, parts and pieces, but now they're just coming alive. And this one was so clear. What are you saying to UChurch? What are you saying to this community? What are you saying to the people right now that are tapping in from other places in Canada or other way that perceive and see something's going on in their hearts? We can look to the externals. We can hope for this ending in 2 or 3 weeks or whichever, but everybody's saying this is going to continue. If we put our hope in when this ends, we will be anxious, waiting for it to hear the news. And the longer it takes, the more, if you will, disturbed or frustrated we will get. But if we understand this as an opportunity to let him go into our hearts as we lay down in a green pasture. God took me back to some memories. One was how he took me to a place where I could receive him. He took me out of the city. There was no virus. There was no way, but he navigated it for me to be in a little town for, I thought it was going to be 4 months, turned out to be 3 years. And in that, he broke through some of my things. I couldn't entertain myself the way I did in the city. I didn't have a bunch of friends around that I could do stuff with. I couldn't go, if you will, be occupied. Weapons of mass distraction. And so here we end up with this time, and I come to faith because things get put into my heart. I get to see and experience love. And fast forward, as soon as that happened, almost immediately I'm put out in the bush in a camp job out where there was no other Christians. I'd never heard a podcast, never heard a church service. I'd never heard anything, but now I have a Bible, a guitar, and that's it. And nature. And I didn't know what was happening at the time, but he was doing exactly what this said. Digging up the fallow ground. He began, as Jesus said, the Holy Spirit's going to come and teach you everything you need to know. And he began to do that. And he wasn't teaching my head, he was teaching my heart. I just didn't know that was happening. I'm just going to say this right now. If you're young and you're watching this, when I say young, young in the sense that you're going stir crazy and I want to get out and do a bunch of stuff, that's a kind of a young thing. You know what? Receive this as a gift. The seeds that are planted in this time in your heart and watered will have a harvest down the road in your life that you will look back to these moments and say, I remember when he said that to me or he did that with me. It's really important. One of the things that happens if we understand the metaphor of our hearts is the soil. He's planting and watering. And the question that comes to mind, he plants and waters and other people can do that, but who brings the increase? Jesus says it's our Father. He's the gardener. And this isn't a great opportunity to let him garden, if you will, the fallow ground and what's growing and what's not to be there. If you've ever been around a farmer, when spring comes, they go out and they walk the land. They kind of do a review because what happens is the frost and certain things bring up stones to the surface that will wreck the equipment. So they go around and pick the rocks off. And Every year they do that, typically because it just keeps coming up. Let him show you what's in your heart. Let them come to the surface. And if they're scary for you or they're hard, if you're worried about finances, if you're worried about those things and you I know God's my provision, but you can't seem to get out of that worry and fear, it's okay. Pick up the phone, call someone, do something, because the Spirit wants to dislodge that so that more, if you will, seeds of his life will grow up in us. It's a great time. One of the things I just want to mention is it's also a great time to strengthen yourself in the Lord. So let's say you're doing great. You're feeling, I got this down. But this is getting long. It could go on and on. One of the things is to strengthen yourself in the Lord. And it's one of my favorite verses. It's when David is in this place and he's done his time in the desert. He's done his time on the backside, taking care of sheep. He's written songs. He spent time. He's done all these incredibly unique things. And then his moment, the fruition of that comes true as he steps up and with this courage, because he's been comforted by God. Courage is a byproduct, a manifestation of being comforted by God. Having him come and deal with our fears and those things that create fear. Courage comes. Perfect love casts out fear. He steps in and takes on Goliath when nobody else would. This scrawny kid takes him down, becomes king. We know the story, and finds himself now leading others into places of taking, land, if you will, for them. And one particular battle ensues. He's got 400 mighty men with him, and they think he's amazing. And off they go, doing the things that God had put in their heart to do. And what they didn't know is the enemy had come in behind through a back door and came in and took their wives and their children. And in those days, that was a brutal reality. They came back, and this is what happens to David. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all of the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. What did David do? Like David strengthened himself in the Lord, our God. In the midst of when you're feeling pressure, distress, this is the time to go be encouraged with God. Let him love you. Let him go to these things in you. Let his word come to you, and it comes alive within you. If we were as distracted as we were, say, a month ago doing the things, now we have a moment where he can come to us because we're getting quieter. Yes, some of you are working from home. Yes, you've got kids running around, some of you, but you still have some time, and he knows how to get to your heart in the midst of that. So really important. Whatever was written beforehand is meant to instruct us on how to live. The scriptures impart to us encouragement and inspiration so that we can live in hope and endure all things. Let's be encouraged in this season. This is an important season for us. It really is a gift. Yes, it's got lots of stuff that's going on around us. Be informed, but recognize what right now is going to form you. What's going to form your heart? And I know it sounds, I don't know if it sounds corny, if it sounds like whatever, but right now, the Spirit of the living God, the love of God, the Father himself wants us to receive and experience his love. And he never forces it on us. It's only when we lay down in that green pasture, when we don't make an issue of trying to find out the answers, but let it come to us, because he is the answer. He is the truth. I'm going to end with this, Psalm 27, and it's the psalm that's one of my favorites. It's what caused a big shift in my life many years ago. And he says this, I am like an orphan, but you took me, Lord, and you made me yours. Now teach me all of your ways and tell me what to do. Make it clear for me to understand. And then he ends it with this. Now here's what I've learned through all this. Don't give up. Don't be impatient. Be entwined as one with the Lord. Be brave and courageous, and never lose hope. You keep on waiting. Yes, keep on waiting, for he will never disappoint you. So, stop dwelling in the past. Let's not go in the past, and let's not put our hope in the future. We'll put our hope in him. Why? Because he says this, I'm doing something brand new, something unheard of. Even now it sprouts and grows and matures. Don't you perceive it? It will make a way in the wilderness and open flowing streams in the desert. Church, this is a unique opportunity. He's been working in our midst now in our hearts for a number of years, getting us ready, preparing us. And there's so many things that can be said about this. That's why the explosion of information on the website now and the stories and the life. What is God doing? You just listen to each other's hearts. And we don't just camp out. We're not here just to survive. We're going to thrive. And I just invite all of us to enter into this. If you feel stuck, if you're wrestling with them, this is now the time to call each other and receive. I know we're going to go into the chat rooms now, which is kind of the lifeblood of what's going on in these moments, keeping these messages short and sweet. But go there in your hearts again. You're going to be put in groups again. You're going to meet some new people, and take the time to listen and press in. There's some neat stuff coming. All right. Over and out.
It was awesome. Thank you, Brant. Wasn't that good? Yeah, you guys said yeah, didn't you? We broke through the camera into your houses, and you're agreeing with us. That's awesome. Well, like Brant said, we're going to break into Zoom rooms right now. Not right now. At noon. So what this means is, if you haven't done this yet, it's amazing. Go to the post on the main page. Follow the link. You're going to be put into a waiting room until noon. And at that time, we're going to start a facilitated conversation. We're going to break out into small groups, and we're going to connect with each other. So please join us. We'd love to see your face and connect with you. And we'll see you soon.